Welcome to our Zoom meeting. I have Seth Silver here, both of us during quarantine, talking about a recent article we wrote that was published in the Rochester Business Journal, an op-ed on how to lead in the time of COVID-19. And we really want to talk about the most important things from this article. Seth?
Hi, I'm Seth Silver. I'm an organizational consultant. My practice focuses on two main areas. One is improving leadership at all levels within the organization, and the other is creating better workplaces that are full of engagement, full of community, full of connection. Tim?
I'm Tim Franz. My full-time role is a college professor at St. John Fisher in the Department of Psychology. I also have a small consulting business, Franz Consulting, and my specialty is improving teams and team decision-making and improving leadership. The question.
Okay. Hey, Tim, why did we want to write this article? What was it that we were trying to share with readers?
You know, Seth, when we decided to write this article, we were looking at some leaders, organizational leaders, governmental leaders who are succeeding and doing really well. And then we've been watching some others who are spiraling down very quickly. And we wanted to understand the difference behind those two types of leadership styles. And so, Seth, what do you think a crisis like this reveals about leadership?
A crisis like this amplifies whatever qualities exist in that manager. Much like a microscope or a magnifying glass, you can see things at a much crisper level. The strengths become more expanded, the weaknesses become more obvious. And what I'm hearing from friends and associates and clients is that when managers are doing the right things, they really feel it and they see it, and it means more than it would during normal times. But also when those managers are being petty or they're being forgetful, that too is hurting more and is creating more negativity than it would normally. Everything is amplified in this current set of conditions. Tim, we call this our cloud chart because of the cumulus clouds of all these ideas here. Which two stand out for you? These were the recommendations we mentioned in our article, but which two really kind of popped for you as you want to talk to people watching this video?
Well, in our article, we made statements about the top 10, but I really like this cloud chart better because it gets into the questions that leaders should be asking themselves. And to me, first of all, the most important one on here is, are any of my weaknesses being amplified? And that to me is the big question. It's really easy at a time like this for us to take our weaknesses and show them stronger. Again, that spiral down that I talked about earlier. And then related to that, the second most important one to me is, am I asking for feedback more often?
Definitely.
One of the most important things for leaders to do is to ask for feedback from all of their followers. And in this case, we can't only ask for feedback in that normal way. We need to be asking for it more often and getting more feedback to find out what we're doing really well versus what we might be struggling with that our followers are noticing more.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, Seth, what are the ones you find most important on this cloud chart?
I agree 100% with the ones you picked. I would add to them the listening with empathy, because the communication forums obviously are online, this kind of Zoom and Google Meet and all the other platforms, but also just the phone calls. And so what we say to each other and how it's received, there's a premium now on listening, and there always is, and it always has been a mark of a great leader, and for that matter, probably a good significant other and a good parent. But right now, even more than ever, listening with empathy, really hearing the emotional content of what people are sharing with you. And I guess on a related note, are you present? I hear a lot of people talking about exhaustion, and it's ironic that staying home and staring at your computer for 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 hours a day becomes far more exhausting than the usual run around, get to the office, go traveling, get on and off a plane. So this notion of being well rested and fully mentally present is huge. And I just will add a third. I know you asked me for two, but a third would be humor. We got to laugh. And I love that quotation. It's in our article. Humor is the universal solvent against the abrasive elements of life. I couldn't have put it better. That was said by Senator from Wyoming. And it's true. We got to find ways to make each other laugh. And boy, it deals with stress really well.
I agree, Seth. I think those three are really important. In addition, I'm going to add one more too.
Sure.
To me, it's the major outcome, and it's going to show whether you're doing things well or not. And that's that ability to make timely decisions. So ask yourself, am I able to make timely decisions? Because if you're not, it may mean you're spiraling down again.
Hey, Tim, on this last slide, what are your concluding thoughts and recommendations to people watching this video?
Well, I think the biggest thing is we all should be focused on how to improve our leadership. We should be really taking deep reflections into our leadership behavior and focus on what are our strengths and what are our weaknesses. And of those strengths, what's positively being amplified and we're doing better at, but more important, what are those weaknesses that are also being amplified? We need to do a true self-reflection at this time to try to get at those strengths and weaknesses. And Seth, I know we talk about the last bullet, the vulnerability. Why do you think that's so important?
Well, I think it's important at all times, but even more so now during this crisis. To me, vulnerability and authenticity are very similar. And a mentor of mine, a fellow I looked up to, Peter Block, used to say that you are your most powerful when you're being authentic. And I recall in his writings and in his speeches, he would elaborate and talk about what does being authentic means. And it means sharing what you're feeling when you're feeling it. Obviously not inappropriate stuff, but sharing what you're feeling, what you're thinking when you're feeling and thinking it.
Seth, if people want more information, how should they get a hold of you?
My website works great, silverconsultinginc.com. You can email me at drsethsilver@gmail.com. Don't forget the R. Tim, how do people get hold of you?
Well, the easiest two ways are my email and my website. My website is teambuildingprocess.com, and my email is timothy.m.franz@gmail.com.
Tim, this has been
questions, great. Let us know. And Seth, it was great talking with you today.
You too. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks for sharing.